Hey, welcome to my first ever Q&A video. I got some response. I didn't get quite as much response as I was hoping for, but that's okay. I will have more Q&A videos in the future, and I hope maybe you can participate then. I'm sure there are many questions out there that people who've ever seen any of my videos have asked. For the most part, I do answer questions on the actual videos, so I know that maybe that's part of my problem. But anyway, I thought I'd start out. I did have a good number of questions here, so I will take the time to answer them here, and I hope we go from there. So anyway, my first question is from Delta67. Asking me, do I like Star Trek hand props, and which one are my favorite ones? Now, I've had a couple of Star Trek videos here, which I'm gonna card up so you can look at them if you like. And of course, I love Star Trek hand props. I grew up on Star Trek, and it's one of my most favorite sci-fi genre as well. I am working on two specific hand props that I've always wanted, and that is the phaser and tricorder from Voyager. Now, I like specifically the Voyager versions only because of the overall aesthetic for it. I love the boomerang shape. So just to quickly show, because there will be a video of everything. This one's it's a part because I am working on it. So you have the boomerang phaser, which will have a rubber grip and it will make sound and everything. I got those from GM Props, and of course I am also working on the tricorder. It will be the medical variant, and then it will be able to open up. And again, sounds, lights, everything like that. So yeah, so my phaser and my tricorder, so I will be working on those. The next comment comes from the French Snip. You show us part of your Anakin costume, but could you put the entire costume on to see how it looks? I would love to. I'm gonna cheat and show you a couple pictures here. I put this costume together so many years ago, and it's been through so many variations. Stay tuned for a video coming this upcoming Friday, actually, where I'm gonna actually show off some of the tunic aspect of it. It's a lot to put on to do the whole thing, and I apologize for cheaping out on it. But if you have any other questions specifically about it, watch out for those videos. It's gonna be pretty great. I do love the costume. I don't wear it as much as I would, if I previously loved to, but definitely keep an eye for that. It's a great costume. It's a very warm costume, but it does have a lot of pieces and a lot of layers. So it's a lot of fun. My next question comes from Comic Book Hobby. How far ahead do you plan what props you will build or add to your collection? This is an interesting question because some props I get, some props I buy or build or anything, I plan zero ahead. I kind of see an opportunity and I just pick it up and grab it. Other ones, I have this long scale. So things like my Proton Pack from Ghostbusters, my TARDIS console, a couple others from various things. I do plan quite a bit ahead. I actually have a Graflex lightsaber I'm gonna be working on from Empire Strikes Back / The Force Awakens, which also I won't even see the actual unit until the spring. So in that regard, I do take a lot of planning ahead of time. And then I like to gather reference. I'm not the kind of person that gets a prop in, like for instance, the Star Trek ones I just showed, and just kind of go at it. I want to get the right paints, I want to get the right textures, I want to get the right look for it. I don't want to rush it. I never like to rush my props, and I hope that shows. And I'm sure you've seen some other things in the background from my other videos where you're wondering when I'm going to get to those, and for the same reason, I take my time. And so yeah, I don't really plan too far ahead, but some I plan really far ahead. So really, it depends on the prop. It depends on what it means to me especially as well. I hope that helps. My next question is from Josh Wilder. He asks, you've talked about several Stargate patches so far, but you haven't done an episode about the original SG-1 patch. What can you tell us about that one? And I know there's a few infamous errors replicated on the knockoffs, and what can you say about the original? Do you know what precipitated the change from the Black Pilot patch to the series patch, and any other details we might not have heard before? Actually, this is a video I've been putting off for a while that I want to do, and it will happen in the new year, 100%. I have pretty much a copy of every version of the SG-1 patch from the pilot all the way through to the latest version. Some of them are screen used. Actually, all of them are screen used except for the pilot patch, and I definitely have more information to share by then. What precipitated the change could have been anything. Pilots are really interesting in how they're made. A lot of people don't realize that when a pilot's made, you don't get, when you do finally watch the pilot, you get to watch the pilot or the first episode, and then the second episode usually the week after, or if you're binge watching, you see it in the next 45 minutes. So you don't really realize that when the pilot's made, lots of time can go by between pilot and syndication. So a lot of times costumes and props are made and have to be either reused, which happens, or they're completely remade. In the case of Stargate SG-1, there's a lot of things changed. The whole uniform actually changed from being nylon jackets to being cotton jackets. So there's a lot of differences, and that's very common. You'll see that if you watch anything from old TV shows to current ones. I mean, Stargate's also very old as well. So likely what happened is they might have even just changed manufacturer, or they didn't like the way the black showed up. Maybe they thought the silver would show up better. There's a lot of different reasons. Most of them I will probably go into with my video upcoming. So, but I hope that helps a little bit. I do have a lot of the patches. I love them, and yeah. So anyway, sorry about taking so long on that one. All right, another question here from Facebook from Matt Atkinson. Said, I've decided to go as a Jedi to Ottawa Comic Con, and I have bought a Jedi robe and a Princess Leia costume for my daughter. Do I have any tips for Star Wars cosplay? Star Wars cosplay is kind of interesting. There's a lot of different, well, like any kind of cosplay or costuming, there's a couple different ways of going about it. I've always personally gone ahead and purchased or created or pursued costumes that matched me personally. Things that either I could relate to or that I could physically do. And that is my decision over some other people. There's no reason why anyone shouldn't do a costume just because of your size, gender, weight, anything like that. Nothing should stop you from doing a costume. But I personally always go for as authentic as possible. And because I go for authentic as possible, I always go that extra mile anyway. So when it comes to Star Wars costuming, and this applies to any costuming, I would always just say have fun. Pick something that you can move around in that's not going to be too overbearing on yourself, and just look for things. If you're really into details, go full throttle into details. If you're not, take a step back, but realize that sometimes you're going to learn more the first time you're in a costume than else. For instance, my very first Jedi costume I ever had was made out of a polyester blend fabric, completely custom-made Jedi costume, and I loved it to death, but it was so warm. And the first time I upgraded from that costume was to a cotton, just a plain cotton costume, and it made the biggest difference. And you start to realize that. Just like the first time I ever did Anakin, I had vinyl tabards because they were cheaper, and my shoulders were soaking wet after a whole day of trooping with that. And so I went to leather, and I never had that problem again. So one thing about any sort of costuming, especially if you want to continue to recurrently, do it over and over again, is that you're going to see that what works and what doesn't work. But have fun. Out of all this stuff that you ever see in my videos, don't forget to have fun. That is the best. So that's what I would say. Have fun. See how well it goes. If you want to do a Jedi again, great. If you want to, push to be more accurate, go ahead and do that. I didn't just come out of doing my Star Wars costume. My Anakin costume is not my first Anakin costume. It's not my first costume at all. I didn't just walk out in the scene and say, look, I'm a perfect Anakin. Look at me, everyone. I'm amazing. I got all these details perfect. No, I started by starting with a costume that wasn't quite accurate, with a belt that wasn't quite accurate, and rubber riding boots. And then I moved my way up. I got better belts, better hardware, better pouches, better fabrics, better materials, better everything. I just upgraded and upgraded and upgraded to what felt comfortable and what felt more accurate to me. So that's what I would say, if that helps. If I didn't, just post in the comments here and I'll try and explain that better. But yeah, have fun. Always, 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 always have fun. My last question comes from Quinty Toycon. What type of project should someone just getting into the industry try and do? What is achievable for a novice but cool enough to be awesome and be an awesome display piece when it's done? This is a really long answered type of question. I'm going to try and keep it as short as possible. There is no such thing as the best project to start on. There is nothing that you can say, oh, well, there you go. And especially if you want to get into the hobby or the industry or anything like that. Mainly what you need to do, and the things you always do well on, are the things that you love. Things, whether it's small, never go huge. I would never been able to do, or to even start work on my proton pack that I will be, as you will be seeing soon, 5 years ago. It would have been too big of a job for me, I think. But always start small. That would be the best thing to always say. Start small, work up. Don't go out and say, I'm going to build a TARDIS console when you haven't done anything else. So smaller things are great. Painting is great too. So getting kits, getting anything resin that you can work on. Even these themselves aren't as complicated as they may seem, especially these casts. They're very smooth, well done. And then I'm going to do electronics, which I've never done before. But again, start small. You can get unpainted Star Trek con badges that you can paint and see how they work, and then customize to your heart's content. You can get blasters. You can get lightsabers, resin lightsabers, and you can paint those up, see how those go. And you can also do some DIY ones as well. There are plenty of tutorials online about doing sync tube lightsabers, that kind of thing. So try everything. Try anything you think could work. I've done such a hugely varied work that it's really hard to really spot down and say, what you need to do is to just go and do a helmet, or what you need to do is build a tricorder, or anything like that. It's really hard, but really find that thing that you love. Find a piece of fandom that means something to you, and then look for kits. Look for small projects to get going. Once you get the small projects out of your way, you build confidence, you build skills, you build patience. Because one thing I've seen, the one worst thing to do is actually get into the habit of rushing, even though that's kind of what they do in the actual films. Take your time, learn, read forums, watch videos. My first Power Ranger helmet I made for my daughter wasn't nearly as good as the next one, and I'm not talking about just the actual way of sculpting, but even the paint job I'm better at painting now than I was 3 years ago. And I know when I do my own helmet that I got, it's gonna be better just because of the time and what you learn. So if anything, all I can say is when you're looking at what's the perfect project and what's achievable for novices is small kits and learning patience, if that helps. There's plenty of resin kits out there. Just be careful not to get really bad ones. And then read a lot about how to take care of them. Anyway, I hope that answers some of your questions. Those are all the questions I got for this video. If you have any other questions, or if this raised some more questions, ask me in the comments below. Be sure to click over here and subscribe. I'm gonna have a lot more videos. I'm gonna try to do a Q&A every couple months, and hopefully, you have some more. I know I can't answer every single question in every single video, as well as I know I don't go into complete in-depth as some people would really like me to, and I'm trying to play the best of both worlds. So if you have any questions, please ask me here. I'll try and answer them or save them for another video for sure. One thing too, that a lot of people always assume is that you need a lot of money for this hobby. And I just want to say right now, because I've been asked that question before, just not through this Q&A shout out, is that you don't need a lot of money. You may think that, hey, you got a lot of money, but no, a lot of things happen, and you can save, and you can build, and you can trade, and you can just work on your skill and then work your way up. That's all I can ever say is a hobby for a reason, and prop collecting and building is a lot of fun, and you learn a lot. You meet a lot of great, amazing people. I definitely suggest that if you're trying to get in the hobby, don't be put off by the fact that you think you have to spend a lot of money, because not everything costs a lot of money and not everything takes a lot of time. So anyway, if you have any questions, again, ask me in the comments below. But thank you so much for everyone who's liked and subscribed to me and shared everything that I've ever talked about. But most of all, thank you so much for watching.